Welcome to a new edition of See What's On, Central Maine's radio arts magazine, brought to you by Community Productions and Mix 107.9. It's Sunday, October 2nd, 2016. I'm your host, Dick Dyer. Each week, we scour the region and highlight the new and the unique arts happenings wherever they might occur. From Bangor to Lewiston, from Farmington to Rockland, from lounges to formal theaters, from galleries, festivals, libraries, movie houses, and maybe even your own home. If it's on, it's on. See what's on. Fostering great conversations about the arts is part of our mission here at See What's On, and it's a major part of the purpose of the Maine Arts Commission. To that end, the Commission is sponsoring its second Maine International Conference on the Arts in Lewiston this Thursday and Friday, October 6th and 7th. We sit down today with Maine Arts Commission Executive Director Julie Richard to get all the details of this forum important to anyone who cares about the arts in Maine. This segment of See What's On is brought to you by SBS Carbon Copy, located on Main Street in Waterville. SBS is a family-owned business and has always been a strong supporter of the arts and community development. Visit them at mainprintingservices.com. Please welcome to the show Julie Richard, Executive Director of the Maine Arts Commission. As we do, please listen to a piece by Brad Terry and Lenny Bro. Brad will be one of the pop-up artists at the Maine International Conference on the Arts. Julie, it's such a pleasure to have you in the studio with us on See What's On.
Thanks, Dick.
Yeah,
I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, it's so important, and it really adds a nice element. And to talk about an international conference on the arts, which is happening right here in Maine and sponsored by the Maine Arts Commission in a big way. Let's just jump into that. Let's give people a sense. That's right here at Lewiston, Auburn, October 6th and 7th. So coming right up this next weekend.
I know. Well, Thursday and Friday next week.
Coming right up on October 6th and 7th.
Yes.
Right down the road here in Lewiston, Auburn. Real focus on the arts with a couple of keynotes. We're going to jump into this a little bit more. Give me a broad overview, Julie. What can people expect at a conference like this?
Well, a lot of things, actually. This is the second time we've done the Maine International Conference on the Arts. The last time was in 2013.
Up in Orono. I was there.
Yeah, and it was like 3 days long. And we decided that 3 days was a little bit too long. So this is actually starting on Thursday, late afternoon at 4:30 with an opening reception and then our opening keynote address. And then we're encouraging people who are attending to go to various arts happenings around Lewiston and Auburn that night on their own. So it's on their own. We've got information about what's happening on our website, so they can click through and go directly to those organizations' websites. And then the rest of the conference starts the next morning at around 7:30 with breakfast, and then we have we're calling it an idea lab, but it's sort of a pachakacha format.
Like a PK, as we say locally.
And we're featuring 5 Maine artists, and they'll be doing the pachakacha. I think that's going to be really interesting.
And this is all at the Gendron Center in the Bates Mill complex?
Actually, the Gendron Franco Center is Thursday night. And then Friday all day is at the Bates Mill.
At the Bates Mill. Okay.
Yes.
I merged the two.
I know.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah.
But so everything, the main body of the conference is happening on Friday at the Bates Mill. And then we'll have 5 key focus areas for all of the workshops that reflect our cultural plan. So the 5 priorities of our cultural plan that we just launched this past year will be the headings, and all of the workshops will be focused around one of those headings. So we'll have 5 sessions going at once for these workshops, and there's going to be definitely something for everybody.
Great. So, and all of this information is up there on the Maine Arts Commission website, including the registration form. And if you haven't registered already, you should do that. So go to
mainarts.com.
Mainarts.com, much simpler. Make it really easy.
Yeah.
Great. Mainarts.com. Excellent. We'll take a break here, and we're going to listen to something from one of the pop-up arts presentations from the conference, because what would an arts conference be without a lot of art?
That's right.
And we'll have performance art for sure. So we'll take a break and come back and talk with Julie about the keynote speakers.
Excellent.
That was Brad Terry and Lenny Breau with Sweet Georgia Brown. Again, Brad Terry will appear with Leland Faulkner for a special pop-up performance at the upcoming Maine International Conference on the Arts in Lewiston. Before we get back to our interview with Julie Richard, let's listen to another musical selection from one of the pop-up acts at the conference. Here is Around the World by Pacintu Multicultural Chorus from Portland, directed by Con Fulham. We're back now with Julie Richard with the Maine Arts Commission talking about the Maine International Conference and the two keynote sessions for this conference, which is October 6th and 7th, right down the road in Lewiston, Auburn. Julie, so let's talk about the first keynote.
Okay.
That is Crystal Williams, that is. Crystal Williams, who actually happens to be at Bates right now.
Yeah.
But you found her elsewhere before this. And so what is Crystal going to be talking about?
Crystal is going to be talking about cultural equity, which...
Interesting phrase.
Yeah. Cultural equity, inclusivity, and diversity are big hot topics nationally in the arts field right now. Americans for the Arts and grant makers in the arts have both adopted cultural equity statements as part of their organizational culture. And so a lot of national conferences have been focusing on this topic over the past year in particular. And when I was at the New England Foundation for the Arts board meeting this summer, we had a discussion around cultural equity. And it was really the first time that I really thought deeply about cultural equity and what that might mean for Maine. And it seemed like a timely topic, especially given the fact that we're in Lewiston for this conference, and Lewiston is pretty racially diverse, although we know that Maine is the least racially diverse
of any state.
Right. And so it made me think, what does cultural equity really mean for Maine? And how would that apply to us? And so we're hoping that this discussion will really help be the first time that we really talk about cultural equity in Maine and what that means for Maine and where this might go for us. I'm hoping that this will really be kind of the first delve into the topic. We'll probably have several discussions around the state over the course of the next year or so around cultural equity and how people define that here in Maine, and then maybe come up with our own statement on cultural equity and have the commission adopt that as part of our organizational culture as well.
And her title was Practical Approaches to Creating Impact, which is an interesting way getting to cultural equity. And I think it's important to stress that you don't have a preconceived notion.
Not at all.
Cultural equity can deal with geographic diversity, economic diversity, certainly access and accessibility. But you're not going into this with any preconceived notions, and that's going to be a nice outcome from this exercise and this talk. So Crystal Williams will definitely prompt us to think about that and shape an agenda for the year to come.
That's exactly right.
Okay, great. And then your second keynote, which is interesting as well, gets into more of an administrative angle and an admonishment, if you will. The title is very, when you first told me about it, I thought you were admonishing me. Stop asking for permission, I think you said.
Yeah.
And I said, what did I do? What did I do? But stop asking for permission, leading from a place of making things happen.
Yes.
And that keynote is by
Sherry Wagner-Henry. She is the director of the Bowl Center for Arts Administration at the University of Wisconsin-Madison. And I was looking for a leadership keynote at our conference in 2013. I just feel really strongly that anytime we do a conference, we need to have somebody come in and talk about leadership. I think it's really important that the arts field, whoever is working in the arts field, whether you're an artist or a board member or an administrator or someone from the community, leadership to me is a key element, and our arts workers need to think of themselves as leaders. So I'd definitely like to bring in somebody who will talk about leadership and exercising leadership and what that looks like for them. So
sounds like there's a business flavor, an entrepreneurship flavor to this, which I know has been something we've talked about in the past, and how we actually treat art more like a business and create our place at the table, which it sounds like her talk is going to speak to.
Yeah, and Sherry actually has been working with artists around the country and as well within the university, embedding artists into various departments. And she really is intrigued by and working with the concept of artists being part of CEO teams, so that artists are being brought in to help with the creative element within corporations or even within a president's cabinet within a university to help think a little bit more outside the box, which I think is a really cool concept.
Okay. So this really is a conference this conference is not just for artists or arts organizations.
No.
I mean, I know we talked about this before we started the interview today, and you really want people from all walks of life to feel like they're welcome to this conference. There's something here for everybody. Well, you're aiming this at gathering. In fact, I love the phrase on your website, learn, network, do, get inspired. And a nice way to shape a conference. So this is about gathering, and used a bunch of key phrases to talk about why should people come to this conference.
Yeah, we have so few opportunities, like I said, for the arts community to get together. And I think it's really important that we get together on a regular basis. And the plan is for us to have this conference every other year. We missed last year mainly because of how the state budget works, and we just didn't have enough time once the budget was passed to be able to put the conference together last year. So we are now on track. And so the plan is then to do this conference every other year so that we can at least bring the entire field across the state together around learning and getting inspired and learning from each other and partnering and talking and, bringing up important topics.
And I think you even used the word celebrate.
Absolutely.
Celebrate what we've done.
Absolutely.
So you were in Orono a few years ago, and now Lewiston, Auburn. Any sense of where it might be next?
No, I thought you might ask me that, but
but it's clear that you're moving around.
Yes, we'll definitely be moving around.
So we'll leave that a little suspense there.
I think that's a good idea.
You'll have to go to mainarts.com to find out when the next one will be and where.
Yes.
Sort of like the Olympics, right?
Exactly.
We'll have communities vying for
Oh,
this.
no. Don't say that.
Sarah, we'll take a break and we'll come back and we'll talk to Julie Richard more about the workshop and some of the sessions. Welcome back. You're listening to See What's On Mix 107.9. You can hear recent shows that you may have missed on SeeWhat'sOn.com. That's the letter C, What's On, or on Facebook.com, Arts in Central Maine. Please take the time to send us your story ideas and calendar listings for upcoming arts events. Let's listen now to Maine's own Greg Boardman with his fiddle rendition of Trip to Benton. welcome back. We're with Julie Richard and talking about the Maine International Conference on the Arts down the road in Lewiston. Now, Julie, International Conference, it suggests that people are coming from pretty much everywhere for this.
Well, that's
certainly the speakers are.
Yeah. And we have a partnership with New Brunswick. Mm-hmm. And so we definitely like to include our brethren from New Brunswick in these conferences. And so we'll have several delegates coming from New Brunswick to participate. And, they'll definitely be part of the discussions that we're having. And also we'll use a lot of what we learn in this conference in our future discussions with with the cultural task force that we work with in New Brunswick.
Mm-hmm. Great. And as part of your cultural planning process, you've said already that this conference came out of the cultural planning process to some extent. You're thematically talking about elements from the plan.
We are.
So this is part of shaping the agenda for the future and keeping the arts vibrant in Maine, which we all know and love. The pop-up series, there are several. We won't get into all of them. You'll have to go to the website, people, listening in. There's so many to talk about. We featured some of them here today on the show. But there are many opportunities for great entertainment as part of this. These are brief performances from various artists interspersed during the second day of the conference in particular on October 7th.
There'll be some performances at the opening as well.
In the opening evening as well on the 6th. So you really have to come for it all.
You do.
And we want to get in there that the registration is very reasonable for a day and a half. $99. I'm assuming that includes some food and refreshment. So very reasonable for a conference of this magnitude. So register online. Go to mainearts.com. Do that now. Don't forget this Thursday and Friday. But who are some of the pop-up artists, Julie?
So in the opening on Thursday, we'll have the Franklin County Fiddlers, which is a school group, actually. And we're really excited to have them join us. And the Auburn Community Band, which I think will be great. Then the next day, we've got the Outside Track, which is actually an international group, and they happen to be touring through Maine. And so we were able to nab them on their way through Maine, so they'll be doing a little pop-up. Pineland Suzuki, which is, of course, a Suzuki group, and they're based at the Snow Pond Community Music School, and they're terrific little
I've
kids.
Heard them.
Yeah. And then Karen Montanaro.
I have probably heard this group. But
Karen Montanaro, of course, she's amazing dancer.
Legendary by now.
Chicks with Sticks. They are
love that title.
They are a steel drum band, which I think will be really fun. Greg Boardman, who is, pretty famous folk musician. So he'll be...
He used to be with Old Grey Goose.
I don't know.
Yeah. But he's, I think he's on the faculty at Bates as well, isn't he?
I don't know that.
Okay. He was at one time.
Okay. Lindsay Barassa, she's a flamenco dancer.
Okay. Oh,
yeah.
Really international flavor.
Leland Faulkner and Brad Terry, actor, mime, and magician. So that'll be interesting.
Sure.
The Greeley High School Madrigal Singers are terrific.
Okay.
They performed actually at the Excellence in Maine Visual and Performing Arts, a presentation that we did this past spring, and they're really amazing. So they'll be performing. Allison Chase will be performing. And then, I don't know how to say this, I never get it right, the Pinkatu Choir.
Oh, okay. Sounds good to me.
It's Con Fulham's group.
Oh, okay.
Also
sure.
kids. They're an international group of kids that he works with, and they're terrific as well. So.
Right. I saw them perform a year ago, actually. They are excellent. In fact. Wonderful. So great things to think about at this conference all the way through. Thematically, we're going to learn a little bit about equity. We're going to learn how to lead, and we'll be entertained, and we'll have some good food. And people will get to learn about the arts and cultural scene in Lewiston, Auburn in a bigger way.
Yeah.
If you haven't experienced Lewiston, Auburn, you should.
You should.
So more about this at
mainearts.com.
Great. Get in there. Get to this conference, October 6th and 7th.
Thank you.
Thank you, Julie.
Thank you.
Before we close out the show, let's listen to Celtic band Outside Track with Mountain Road.
As I went up the mountain road to cut my winter store, I met a wee lassie coming down. My heart was mine no more. Hey, rick-a-doo, rick-a-daddy. Hey, rick-a-doo, rick-a-day. Her hair was as dark as the mountain turf, her eye the peat fire flame. Had I to lose my heart to her on me, there was was a summer's day when she said she'd be my bride. Hey, rick-a-doo, rick-a-daddy. Hey, rick-a-doo, rick-a-day. Hey, rick-a-doo, rick-a-daddy. Hey, rick-a-doo, rick-a-day. And now beneath my stowing cot she shares the amber glow of turf we gathered on the hill that is now clad with snow. Hey, rick-a-doo, rick-a-daddy. Hey, rick-a-doo, rick-a-day. Hey, rick-a-doo, rick-a-daddy. Hey, rick-a-doo. Sure, I was a bird alone in trough, and now I'm one of three. I bless the day I found my love on the slopes of Slieve the Mee. Hey, rick-a-doo, rick-a-daddy. Hey, rick-a-doo, rick-a-day. 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 Hey, rick-a-doo, rick-a-day. Hey, rick-a-doo, rick-a-daddy. Hey, rick-a-doo, rick-a-day. Hey, rick-a-doo, rick-a-daddy. Hey, rick-a-doo, rick-a-day. Hey, rick-a-doo, rick-a-day.
Well, that's our show for this week. I really want to thank Julia Richard, Executive Director of the Maine Arts Commission, for coming by today. Please remember to check out the Maine International Conference on the Arts in Lewiston this October 6th and 7th. Next week, we'll return with an interview with comedian Ben Roy and listen to clips from Ben and his fellow comedians from the hit show Those Who Can't. I would also like to say a special thanks to Gatsby for technical assistance in producing this show here on 107.9 The Mix. My partner Gary Poulin and I hope you reach out to us on Facebook and visit our website at seewhatson.com. Remember, that's the letter C, whatson.com. And share that with your friends. We look forward to seeing you next Sunday for more features about the arts in Central Maine. That's it for me. Hope you enjoy the rest of your Sunday. And remember, if it's on, See What's On.